Hi guys, welcome back to Heroes for Nevada. This is week 2 where we are so honored to be talking with Southern Hills Hospital. We know that the men and the women that are working not just at this particular location but throughout hospitals in Southern Nevada are putting themselves on the front lines every single day, putting their own families at risk. And Paul Hamel is joining us now. He's the Director of Critical Care over at Southern Hills Hospital. He's a veteran and here to talk to us about everything COVID-19, everything pre-COVID-19. Paul, how are you doing today?
Doing outstanding. And yourself?
Good. I'm like feeling your energy. I got to tell you, from the second we said hello, I'm like, I feel uplifted by Paul. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Are you drinking coffee? Is that what's happening? You're just on hour 36 wired on coffee?
Red Bull. And
hey, that's not supposed to be good for you, Paul.
Yeah. Sugar-free.
Okay, then we're good. I'm like, wait, you work in healthcare. You're drinking Red Bull. I appreciate it, though. Thank you so much again. I know this is a beyond busy time for you and everyone at your hospital, and I've heard just such amazing things about you, and we're going to brag a little bit on you in a bit, but can you go ahead and tell us start by telling us a little bit about your background and kind of about your current role and how you got to be where you are right now?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. 24 years in the military. I started off right out of high school, went into the Navy. I was assigned to a Marine Corps detachment. I was a hospital corpsman. Made it through the ranks to Chief Petty Officer, got commissioned in the Navy as a nurse. And then I switched services and continued and finished my career in the Air Force. And I retired from the United States Air Force about March 2018. And I worked at the VA, and my wife was an employee here, worked as an ICU nurse, and she told me how wonderful it was and how much she loved it here. And fate had it, they reached out to me and the position was open, and I've been here since October, and I absolutely love it.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your service. You know, you really are showing us a lot that you can go from one service dedicated to serving the lives of others, and then now, you should have gone on vacation and just retired, Paul, but you went in and now you're on the front lines in a completely other way.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way, though.
What made you want to dedicate kind of your life to serving others, both in the military and now in your current position?
Servant leadership. I've always been a leader, honestly, through high school. I was kind of the underdog growing up, and I was always a voice for the underdog, and for some reason, it was just, I think leaders are born, and it's just an instinct that you're born with, and I wanted to utilize it to my best ability. My father, when he was alive, he always said, son, you've got these qualities, it's a gift from God, you got to use them. So I just followed wherever my heart took me, and that's where I'm at, and honestly, like I say, I wouldn't change a thing.
I love that. Well, thank you again for your service in so many different ways. I have to ask, so what would you say out of the gate is the biggest, I guess, change from life in the military to now working some pretty intense hours, especially now during where we're at in this landscape? What's the biggest change for you between those two lives?
First of all, let me say, I've worked with various different cultures, different peoples of all walks of life. And there's not really a big change. I mean, because I've been fortunate enough to work with teams, whether it's the military or whether it's, nursing, healthcare, whatever it may be. Everybody's got that common goal, and that's that team unity. And to, we all obviously have the fear of the unknown, especially with the COVID virus, et cetera. But, we've all become comfortable with being uncomfortable, and we've pressed forward. We don't look back. We learn from, the information we gather from the results we see, and we continue to improve processes, and we just move forward. I mean, it's a battle, but we're winning it. And I'm proud to be part of this team, and I'm humbled, and, to be part of this whole Southern Hills team. It's fantastic. Love it.
I'm a little jealous. I got to tell you, I'm ready to go back to school and just to join your team at Southern Hills, because we had the opportunity to talk with Dr. V last week and on last week's episode. And my goodness, I got to say, every single story that has been brought up just talks about what a family it is. And you hear that oftentimes in places of employment, but this truly is a family, and what an amazing thing to be a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, I get, sometimes I pinch myself and I ask myself, am I really that lucky to be here? And I know, and I'm not one that's warm and fuzzy. I'm more of a, so, but, I'm not ashamed to admit it either. I love the people I work with, and I mean, it is a family. And Chris, Dr. Viscopoulos, love the guy. I mean, I'd take him to battle with me no matter what we were fighting, Corona or the enemy overseas. It didn't matter. I mean, solid guy. Absolutely.
And you have your wife, I think, to thank a little bit for your
I love my wife.
I can't hear that. What? No.
Candace Hamel, my wife, is the reason I'm here, and I'm very thankful to her.
That's amazing. I'm sure the stories when you guys go home at night are probably a little bit different, with rather than, if we were working in accounting or something, my husband and I would probably be trading different stories. You guys, especially now, I can't imagine what it's like to go home and have your biggest support both in the hospital and at home, and to be able to relate on that kind of a different way.
Yeah, it is interesting. We do have interesting conversations, but honestly, what we try to instill, first of all, healthcare workers, the frontline providers, we're 24/7, but we're human as well. A lot of us, I mean, and I, including myself, we're under stressful circumstances, and we still have families at home. We have friends that have, not necessarily are in this profession and they don't have work. We have, church groups that are kids in the communities that their only meals were at school, and now they're not receiving meals. They're not being fed. So, I try to instill in my kids will volunteer and, work and pass out meals or whatever we can do. We take the goodness of what we have and the blessings we have, and honestly, we try to share it and pay it forward to our neighbors, our friends, family, and just anybody we meet. And it's not just the frontline providers, the healthcare workers. I mean, you got the food industry, you have the transportation industry. I mean, life still goes on. So we're all here. I think we're all heroes, and the community as a whole has just really pulled together as well. So back to the original point, we're just very proud of what we do, and we're proud of our community, and we try to just thank God for the blessings that we have, and thank God for the opportunity to be a part of this. I know we learn and we grow stronger through hard times, so this is one of those times.
Absolutely. And what an amazing, outlook and positive outlook to not just, for you to have and your wife, but to teach your children and giving back. We're so lucky to have such a wonderful family like you here in our community. Obviously we've touched, obviously we're here in this COVID-19, and it's such an uncertain time. Things are changing every single day for not just us here in Southern Nevada and our state as a whole, but across the country. What has been kind of a big concern to your hospital and your team as a whole as we move through this new landscape?
Well, like I was saying, and I know this is kind of a blanket answer, but it's the fear of the unknown. I mean, this is a new pandemic, new virus that we've never dealt with before. So, it's just the fear of the unknown. But like I said, our team, I'm really impressed with just how everybody's just come together. We've put the fear aside, and we've gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable, and we've worked hard, so we're hard to beat. And that's a saying my son always tells me: work hard, so you're hard to beat. And this is a perfect example of that. So that's the mentality we have. Do good to all, and do what we can.
Absolutely. And this is, kind of a new battle, where you with your experience in the military, and now here we are and facing just an invisible enemy, so to speak, and being on the front lines of this pandemic. I'm sure you've seen it all, and you guys have seen it all there in Southern Hills. I know we talked a little bit about having a nurse that, Bessie, that went ahead and became the patient and recovered. And then we also talked about Alfred, one of the first patients there that successfully released. It's amazing.
Yes, it is awesome. And that's, that's what makes this job worth it. I mean, it's just the glorification of seeing our folks and seeing that positive outcomes. It fills my heart. And I mean, I know my folks, my team, I mean, they feel the same way. And that's why we're here, because, we want the greater good for everybody. We want to make sure we're, providing that quality, top-notch care. And it's a team. That's all I can say is it's a team.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about this team. What have been some of the things that you've had the opportunity to see from your team, and, stories of, optimism and hope and just positivity?
Well, honestly, we try to be rainbows and sunshine all the time, but that's not realistic. So, but we try to keep it that way. And there's days where, we're doing 16, 17 hours a pop, but, everybody can say, hey, I'm done, but not one person's done that, because we're all here for that same common goal, is the love of our people and the love of our patients. And, we're going to beat this thing. But what I've seen and what I've been really impressed with, I know, and not to get into numbers or statistics, but I've been really impressed. I know when this initially came out, the pandemic initially broke out, the statistics that I was hearing and that we were researching in regards to survival rate, I've been really impressed with, we're 3 times higher survival rate than the national average. And I don't have exact numbers,
That's okay.
but the bottom line is that's impressive. And it's all about continuously learning, continuously educating, continuously working together, and just continually fine-tuning our practice and fine-tuning our care, so we can continue to have these outstanding outcomes. So that's what I've seen, and I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. I think, we are oftentimes getting thrown so many different statistics and so many different numbers. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest question on everybody's mind here in the community and throughout the country is how do we move forward? How are we progressing, and how are we beating this and being able to go back to some sort of normalcy? So to hear that, just the fact that we are where we are right now is huge 2 months after. And I'm curious to know, as we start to reopen the city and our community, we've heard that a big reason for the stay-at-home order was to give hospitals an opportunity to catch up, to kind of, get staff used to what was happening, make sure that we weren't overcrowding our hospitals. Is there any kind of concern, at least from your end or your team's end, that if we start to reopen, that you guys aren't prepared, or do you feel like you're more prepared now, having kind of gone through this almost boot camp?
I think, honestly, I think we're ready. Like I said, I have total confidence in my administrative team. I have total confidence in HCA. I have total confidence in the people that I work with on a daily basis. And I have confidence in myself. And like I said, we work hard, so we're hard to beat. So, bring it on. We're here for our community.
I like that. Bring it on. What do you think are some misconceptions about COVID-19, that you've been able to dispel through your daily work and your firsthand experience?
First of all, I know when this initially came about, there was thoughts that it only affects elderly people, or, from what I've seen and what I've read, and, just the facts. Bottom line is, COVID doesn't just just select a specific age bracket. I've seen it in, 20, 30, 40-year-olds as well. So, that's where we got to continue to be advocates for each other, make sure we're, utilizing hand hygiene, social distancing. We got to follow the CDC guidelines. We got to be smart and work together. It's a team effort to beat this. I mean, not one person can do it by themselves. So we got to continue to remind each other, and obviously when we're in public places or whatever, make sure we're in a mask, and I'm here by myself. So, but, make sure that
Following it, I'm good.
Exactly. But, it's the simple things, and I think if we follow these and we work, and as research, et cetera, progresses, we're going to beat this. So, but we got to control what we can control.
Absolutely. And those are such great, reminders to practice just hygiene. And these are things that you would have thought of before. Okay, let's be more conscious about washing our hands. But now everybody is extremely conscious of that. And I'm sure your days have changed quite significantly pre-COVID-19 to now. Can you take us through kind of what a typical day looked like for you pre-COVID and now what it looks like with dealing with all of this?
Well, sure. Initially, before, pre-COVID, I would get up, take my kids to school, stop for my coffee, come into work, around 7:30, 8 o'clock, do my rounds, take it easy, take care of a couple emails, go to a few meetings throughout the day, handle a couple things here and there. And, life is good. Get out by, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Now, with the new COVID, days started at 6:30. No more school, but 6:30, 7 o'clock, we're here. We're assessing every patient. We're planning for, if we need to move anybody, we need a, cohort, different positive patients, etc. Whatever the case may be, because it changes. It can change within an hour. I mean, 1 minute you can come in, you may have 10 patients, and an hour later you may have 22. I mean, it just happens that quickly. And just on the other hand, I mean, you may have 22, and 2 hours later you may have 5. It just varies so much. So we got to constantly communicate. So I'm constantly communicating with my charge nurses, with my administration team, with my constituents and fellow directors. A lot of movement. The meetings we still have them, but they're more, via phone versus, in person, which saves a lot of time and still prevents us from all being gathered in that one room, that social distancing. And we play by ear. And, and not to mention we get fed every other day, it seems like, by somebody in the community, which is awesome. That's why I put on this extra 2-liter I got going here, but not a 6-pack. Anyways, and, we stay late. We have long nights. We work well. We work hard. A lot of gowning, PPE. But you know what? Bottom line is we do it. We get the job done. And I think at the end of the day, when I look in the mirror, I know I've done all I can do, and I'm proud. And I know my folks have as well. So, it's all in a day's work.
Absolutely. And that's quite a day, and one thing we've seen significantly change for our healthcare workers is, as you mentioned, PPE. It seems like it's, before it was just let's, get ready for a day at work, and now it's very intense from what we've heard in the community about how you are protecting yourselves, and rightfully so. When you talk to your team, is there any sense of I guess frustrations that, whether it comes from something like PPE or whether it comes from needing to be, I don't want to say doing their job, because they do it, you all do it because you love it, but are there any frustrations? Are you just finding, and I know you mentioned it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but are you finding that the overwhelming majority of people, especially at your facility, are just like, put me in, coach, let's go?
Everybody is positive for the most part. Bottom line is everybody's here for a certain reason, and nobody made anybody sign a piece of paper and take an oath to be here. Bottom line is everybody is free to come, and they don't have to be here. People that are here, they're positive, they want to be here, and like I said, I have faith in my administration, I have faith in HCA, and I have faith amongst all of my peers as well, and we get the job done.
Absolutely. And this series is called Heroes for Nevada. We are really, whether it's our healthcare workers, who you guys are on the front lines every single day, risking your own lives and your own families, which, as I told Dr. V, a thank you will never be enough for all that you guys are doing. We've seen truck drivers, we've seen grocery store workers, bank tellers, everybody from different walks of life that really have changed the way we look at a hero. But what does it mean to you to be a hero, or what does that specific word hero mean to you?
To me, a hero is service before self. That's, we're out there, we're not expecting payback. We're not doing it for the glory. We're doing it because we want to, for the greater cause. We want to do something for people, for the underdogs, for we're there. We want to make sure people get better. We're going to beat this. We're not going to back down. To me, everybody that faces this, and there's so many heroes, and it's not just here. It's our community as well. I mean, there's to define it, it's difficult, but I'll just say there's a lot of heroes within this Las Vegas community, and I'm exceptionally proud to be part of it.
Absolutely. And as we recognize heroes in the city and throughout the state, what have you found to be a way the community has come together to display acts of heroism? Have you seen anything in your time, whether it be in your hospital or outside of your hospital, that just makes you go?
I know this. It's the simple thank yous. That's what makes me. I mean, that's what warms my heart. I mean, we've had such an outreach from multiple companies, people within our community that have come forth. Like I said, I mean, they feed us. We got little pictures from children that have drawn little thank you cards, and that got me a little bit. I mean, that was very sweet. I mean, just it's everybody. I mean, everybody pulls together, and I see a lot of people. It's the thank yous. It's the just the camaraderie. I mean, I don't think I can really define it, but I mean, everybody's just made us feel special and appreciated. And when we see these wonderful outcomes, like Bessie, getting out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not a big crier, but I did cry on that one, and that's what makes it worth it.
I love it. And what is, there's so much going on. There's positive, there's negative, there's so many things. And as we're getting ready, it looks like to get closer and closer to, I wouldn't say life back to normal, but figuring out what our new normal is in this life, and kind of business a little bit more as usual. What's the message that you hope we all take away from this time? What do you hope that our viewers walk away knowing about those like yourself and your team working tirelessly here in Nevada?
Well, honestly, just keep following, the CDC guidelines. Simple as washing your hands. I mean, if you don't have to go out, if you do, keep the social distancing. Wear a mask when it's appropriate, and take care of yourself. Yourselves. Sitting at home all the time can drive you kind of bonkers, I would assume. So make sure you enjoy life and be thankful for the blessings you have. And like I say, as we continue to fight against this, it's a team fight. It's not just a one-person fight. So continue to thank the frontline folks, because they're out there working it, and just continue to have faith in each other. And I think we'll be fine, honestly.
I love that. You have such, again, an optimistic, positive view of this, and your energy is infectious. I really hope that you and your team know how special you are to all of us, for allowing me to put my kids to bed at night and know that they're a little bit safer, because gosh forbid, if anything were to happen, they have people like you to take care of them. And that is something that I hope that beyond this, that we don't forget how important you guys are. So thank you so much. And we'll be sure to, direct people to your website. I know we're talking to have a little bit more resources. You guys are just packed with information. So we'll make sure to put that up for our viewers. But thank you. Thank you for being a hero for Nevada, and to you for your team. Please tell them that they have nothing but the utmost support from all of us around the country.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.